In this video, I'm going to show you how you can read a CSV file which is available in your local system, and you can load this to one of your custom table. So as you can see here, we have a load sample file available, load file.csv, and this file is something look like this. You have entity, account, product, cost center, and some amount. Okay. And I want to load that file into my custom table, which is my sample table. Okay. And to do that, I want to create a dashboard, a button where user can come, click on that button, select the file, and it will be loaded to this custom table. Okay. So I'll show you end-to-end process, starting from creating a dashboard, creating a button, the dashboard extender rule, how that rule will read the file, and it will load that into your custom table. Okay. So for that, we'll create a dashboard first. So we'll start by creating a dashboard maintenance unit. Okay. So I just give this name as file load. This is our dashboard maintenance unit. Under that, we have to create a dashboard group. Okay. So I'll say file load dashboard. Now we have to create dashboard components so that we can create a screen on top of it. Okay. So 00 frame will be our top level dashboard. Then I'll create 01 header, 02 toolbar so that it will come in a sequence under the dashboard component. I'll create one more as say container, where we create one SQL table editor component so that we can see the content of the tables. Okay. So along with the components, the dashboard component system will automatically create its embedded component so that I can attach this here, because these are my sub dashboard components, and 00 frame is my top level dashboard. Okay. Now we have to define the layout, where I'll select 3 rows and 1 column because we have 3 components mentioned here. And we can define the heights of it. So I'll say header should be 55, toolbar should be 55, and row 3, which is our container, I'll just make it star so that it will automatically adjust to the remaining screen. Okay. So let me give the background color of the header differently so that it will be clearly visible. You can give name whatever you want as per your project. Toolbar also I'll give a different color. Let's say I'll give it as blue. Okay. Let's run this and see how it is looking. So this is our header, this is our toolbar, and the remaining area is your container. Now we need a button so that we can click on that button. It will ask us to select the file, and then file will be loaded to one of the shared location as well as in our custom table. Okay, so button A I'll give as button underscore load. Text I'll say load here. Will define some display properties. Visible should be default. Vertical alignment I can say as center. Width, let's give it 100. Height as 25. Okay. Now I'll attach this button to my toolbar. Okay. So now you see we have a header toolbar, and once I click on this, nothing is happening. But ideally, once I click on this, it should give me a prompt to select the file. Okay. So to make this enable, I have to define the button type. So the button type should be file float. And along with that, we have to define where I want to save this file. So I'll select file share, and then we have to select the location of the file share where we want to save this file as a physical copy. So I'm selecting file share application, then the application name, groups, and everyone. I select everyone as a destination folder for this file to upload. So you will notice one thing here. We have applications, then the application name, groups, and everyone. This application name, which is sandbox here, it can be different. Example, if I'm working on one of my lower environment where the name of the application is different, then if I move this utility to my production environment where the application name is different, you might have to change the name here, right? So what we can do is we can use a parameter, which is one of the substitution variable. And what it will do, it will make the name of the application dynamic here. Okay, like this. Now, if I run my dashboard again and see, it is asking to choose a file, right? Load file. I choose load file, open. So you see unable to open file. Okay, because the file is already open. Let me close this. Done. Now, if I refresh this, everyone, you will see the file came in the everyone folder. Okay. So our next step is to show the table in the container section. Like to show a table, we have a component called SQL table editor. Okay. So I'll say SQL table, and our table name is sample table. Okay. And we are just considering that the table structure is same as the structure of the file. Okay, in this case. So sample table is our table name. Okay. Sample table. So the component is already available. Now I will attach this component to my container SQL table. Let's run it again. So you see we have a button and also we have a SQL table which will show the contents of the table. So what we want is I'll select here, select the file, I click on open. Ideally it's to load the file in the below section. Okay, means in the sample table. So to do that, what we will do is we will first create some parameters here. Say I'll give the name as param file path. So this is one of the parameter I'm assigning to the bound parameter. It doesn't need to be physically present as a parameter in the parameter section. Okay, we can directly give whatever the name we want. Okay, and then on the server change task, I want to run a business rule. So I'll select one of the server, which is general server in this case. Here I'll choose this one where we will be defining a dashboard external type of rule, the function and the parameter, whatever we want to send along with this. So probably we'll give the rule name, which will be dashboard extender type, the function we create, and the parameter that will take the location of the file to my business rule so that I will be able to read the file from that location. And then we can read the file line by line and write it into your custom table. Okay. So I'll just save it for now. I'll open my business rule. We'll create a new business rule under dashboard extender. So dashboard extender is this. Okay. And the name of the rule is say load while. So if you notice here, by default, system will give you three cases. Case one, load dashboard. Case two, component selection change. And case three, SQL table editor. So in this dashboard, we will be working on the component selection change, means on load. So I don't need these cases. We can just leave that as is, but I'm just cleaning them so that it will be not confusing for you. Okay. So the method name is nothing but the name of the function that we have to define. Okay. Load, load file, okay, to table. The name of the function can be anything, but we have to make sure the name of the function, what you're mentioning here, should be same as what we are giving in the button. Okay. So the very first thing is the name of the business rule we have to define here. So I'll just replace this my BNO with the upload file. Okay, right? The business name. The second is the function name. Function name is the one that we have defined in the business rule, load file to table. And the third is the parameter that we have to pass. Okay, so in this case, we are going to pass a parameter that will be our file path is equal to the parameter, which is the bound parameter here. Okay, whatever we have given the name here, it should be same as is. So giving a parameter in the bound parameter, what it will do, it will save the location of the file in this bound parameter. Okay, and that bound parameter we are passing along with my business rule. Okay, which is our selection change server task arguments. So if you hover that, you can see some examples, right? How the parameter can be passed, right? What are the other methods? What are the other type of rules you can call, correct? You can also call a sequence. You can also directly define a point of view. You can also call a finance rule, okay? You can also call a dashboard extender rule, right? Where the structure is same. The name of the rule, function, and the parameter. Same for the finance rule. Name of the rule, function, and the parameters, right? So based on what you're selecting in the server task, it will automatically understand. Okay. So I'll just save this. There's one more thing we have to define here is on click of that button, we want to refresh the container section because once your file will be loaded, right? We want to refresh the container, which is nothing but the SQL table editor. Right? Because programmatically we are writing the file to the table. Then once the writing will be completed, right? It will refresh the container section so that you will be able to see the updated table in the dashboard itself. Okay. Now we'll define the function. So what we can write here is we'll just create a custom function. So argument here it is checking whether the function name is load file to table. Okay. So I'll just do an and if here and I will be defining a function, custom function, where I'll just give the same name as the name of the function. SI, I'll pass globals, API, and RS. Okay. Now here I will be defining custom function. So to do that, the syntax is function name and the parameters. Okay. So parameters are given same as the parameters in the main. So I can just quickly do this and function. Okay. And here I have to define or read the file path that I am passing with the parameter, which is file path. So I have to read it first. Before this, let me remove this section. And if it's not required, okay, try catch. Okay. So I'll explain about what is XF selection change task. Okay. First, we'll see how we can read a parameter. Okay. So to read a parameter, we have different args, right? So args dot name value pair, and then we can give the name of the parameter that we are passing, right? So this is how we can read the parameter. So dim file path is string args dot name value pair dot so get value and the name of the parameter that we have given is this file path. Okay, this is our file path. So one thing you will notice, this file path will be the path of the server, right? In which your particular file will be placed, right? But I have to replace this path. For example, if your OneStream is installed into a distributed server, right? So we have to actually dynamically get the file share folder. So to do that, OneStream has given some, out of box functions, right, that we can use to read the folder path dynamically, right? So there's one function called get file share folder. So we will be using this function, right? So I'll just copy this and paste it here, right? So what it will do, it will, read the file and give me the path of the file share. OS file. Okay. Right. Um, Second argument of this method is the file share folder type. Okay. So I have to tell system which folder type I want here. So to do that, I'll say file share folder type dot types dot application root. So it will automatically give me the application root location. Okay. Third argument I can say is nothing. So this application root is nothing but this location. So we will automatically, get the root location of the file share. So I will be getting the applications as a root location. On top of this, I will be appending the further path, which is slash and then the app name, right? So in case if I want to make it dynamic, I'll say si dot app name. Okay. Then groups, app name, groups, and everyone. App name, groups, and slash everyone. Okay. And after that, we need the file name. Okay. So we can programmatically get the file name as well because the file path here will be different from the file share path. Okay. So for that, I can use a path dot get file name, right? And within that function, I can give the file name that we have written in the previous step. Okay. So I'm using curly brackets to, read the VB.NET parameters. So it is important that I'll give a dollar sign here so that system will be able to resolve this. Okay. So we got the file name. We are able to read the OneStream file path. Okay. Now we need a data table where we will be reading the file and save this as a data table object. Because ultimately we have to convert the file into a data table object so that I can just write that data table object to our custom table. Okay, so let's create one more custom function. Create data table from CSV. Okay, and here I'll pass the session object and the OS file path. Okay, right. So we need one more function with this name. We'll say function, name of function. Then we need two things. One is the session object, and second is the OS file path. Okay, and which is of string type. And like this. Okay, so we have the file path. Now we have to see how we can read the file. Okay, so the very first thing is we will be using a stream reader class to read the file. Okay, so I'll say using reader as new stream reader. Okay, and stream reader will take file path as an argument. Okay, stream reader will take file path as an argument. So if I'm using, I have to say and using as well. Right. And one thing we notice here, there's generally the CSV file has a header, right? So we have to skip the first row, right? And the actual content of the table will start from the second row, right? So how I will skip the first row? I'll say if is first row. Okay. So I'll make it as a Boolean type. And if it is a first row, make it true because this particular line will be executing it very fast, right? And I can use a while loop, right? And in VB.NET, we write while and while, right? And in the while loop, we have to say while I'm reading the file, while not read dot end of stream. Okay, while not read end of stream, then keep running the loop. Okay, So I'll define line as string, and here I'll read the first line. Okay, so it will keep on reading line by line like this, right? And how I will read the value from this, then we'll define a string array and say line dot split, because we have comma as a delimiter. And there's one more thing. It is, a good practice that if I use a C along with the comma, right? So comma will be under double quotes. It means it's a string. But if I write C here, it will convert that into a character, right? So once I write C here, it is no longer a string. It's a character now, right? That will act as a separator because we are doing a split based on that character, right? Now we'll put a check. Whether is our first row is a header? Yes, it's a header. If it's true, if it is a first row, right? Then run a loop. Okay. And I say header as for each header. Okay. So I'll be defining that header as a string. I'm saying for each header in the value, right? Because I want to give that as a column name in our data table. Correct? Because the structure of the data table object will be same as the structure of the table. Then only we will be able to write, right? Even if the column are not in the sequence, we can manage, but we are here to make it a bulk upload. It is important that we should maintain the table structure in the data table object, right? So to add that, we need a data table. I'll say dim dt as data table. Okay. So dt dot column, because I'm adding the columns in the table, dot add, right? And the name of that. So what it will do, it is checking, do we have header? The Boolean value is true, means we have the header. So it will take the very first line as a header and it will create that as a column, right? Now, as soon as this loop is completed, I'll just define this as false. And then in the next iteration, it will be false. So it will never go into my first if statement. Okay. Now I'll keep on reading the rows. So dim row as data row. Data row, okay, is equal to data table dt dot new row. Okay. So row dot I have to do this as item array is equal to value. Now on this iteration, I'm going to add this as a data table row. So dt dot rows dot add, and we'll pass this row object. Okay. So on every iteration, it will keep on adding the rows to my data table. But the if statement will be true only for the first row, right? And as it is making the first row as false in the first iteration, from the second iteration, it will always go to my else statement of this is if statement. Okay, so it will keep on running until our all the lines will be loaded to our custom table object. So once the table is ready, I can say return my DT. Okay, so here DT will come and it will be stored here. So here, okay, let's talk about this XF selection change task. What it will do, will set the status as okay. I want to give the prompt. Yes. And I can give a message, any message. Either you can give the number of rows in the table or whatever the message you want. I'll say table dated. Okay. Let's compile and see. So globals is not declared in row number 28. Let's see what's happening. It's a spelling mistake. Okay, so let me refresh this and try to run. I'll select the file, click open, table is updated. Okay, so it is not updating the table here. The reason is I'm creating the data object, but I'm not writing it to the table. So we have to write it. So to write this table, we have a method called save custom data table. Okay, right? So it is asking for the DB location. So DB location is the application. Okay. Table name is, let's see that. Table name is sample table. Okay. DT is DT. Use bulk upload. Yes. Bulk upload will only work if the data table object structure or the sequence of tables exactly match with the table structure, the custom table structure. Okay. Let's try to run and see. I'll refresh this again. Select the file. Open. You see, our file is successfully written to our custom table. Okay, it is exactly same. The number of records are also matching. Let me show you from the back end. Click on the same file. You can see the file is written here. So this is how you can create a simple dashboard and define a dashboard extender business rule to read a CSV file and write it into your custom table. Okay.